name's Zerkle, and I will be speaking for the affirmative. It is my pleasure to have the opportunity to debate on population control. Human population control is the practice of artificially altering the rate of growth of a human population. Historically, it's been implemented by limiting the birth rate or a government mandate. As a response to high poverty, environmental concerns, and overpopulation, the population has been controlled. Ways to do this are practices such as contraception, abstinence, reducing infant mortality, family planning programs, improving the status of women, sterilization, euthanasia, or abortion. In ancient Greece, Plato and Aristotle concluded that the best population size for Greek city-states such as Sparta should be small enough for efficient administration and direct citizen participation in public affairs, only large enough to defend itself. An increased population would bring poverty, so they advocated abortion and controlled their population. Infanticide occurred since early times in Rome, and in 1970 the Title X provides access to contraceptive services and information for anyone who wanted to know about limiting the population. Goals of this program were developing healthy families, accomplished by helping couples decide when they wanted to have children, how many they wanted to have, and many ways have previously been taken to protect our children's future and limit the population. First of all, the population should be controlled because it helps protect the environment, ensures sustainability of resources for our future people, increases our quantity of life. It is our responsibility to protect the land we use on. Florida, for instance, was once a sunny paradise and now is paying the price. Open space is vanishing, highways are clogged with polluting traffic jams, and every day 160 acres of its forest and farmland are lost. Housing developments invaded the wetlands, and animal populations are suffering because of this. Forests are cut down, and this is all due to population increase. Another reason that population should be controlled is because the tragedy of commons. This is when it's a depletion of shared resources by individuals acting according to one's self-interest instead of what is best for the overall people. Because there's so many people, they will run out of resources and the country will not be able to live forever. Garrett Hardin, who wrote in his second essay on population control, Exploring New Ethics for Survival, said that we are breeding ourselves into oblivion. Another reason that population should be controlled is so we have a better quality of life, more resources to go around, more space to live in, and more comfortability and opportunities. Education nowadays is becoming overcrowded in schools, and it's decreasing the education quality of our children. Nationwide complaints about urban sprawl are also issues. Study by Pew Center for Civic Journalism named sprawl and traffic associated with crime and violence is the #1 problem in communities today, all associated with population increase. In conclusion, population should be controlled because it would solve many of the problems that we are facing today and that we will face soon in the future. Thank you. I now stand for questioning.
So you think it is acceptable to tell people how many children they're allowed to have?
If it's important to ensuring the future, our children won't be able to have a future if everyone can have as many children as they want.
Okay. Is it not our God-given right to reproduce?
Yes, but doesn't mean we have to reproduce several times.
What could be more important than continuing the advancement of mankind?
Well, our survival as a country is more important.
Should people who provide for themselves and become productive members of society be restrained from continuing their legacy of success by having children? Okay. It's a trick question. Since when is the well-being of our environment more important than the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness which all humans should be guaranteed?
Well, if there's no environment to live in, then our people will not be happy.
Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Rydell, and I will be taking the negative behalf on population control. I would like to thank you for this opportunity for a friendly debate on this controversial topic. Population control, according to dictionary.com, is defined as a policy of attempting to limit the growth of a population, usually by programs of contraception or sterilization. Contraception is defined as the deliberate prevention of conception or impregnation by any various drugs, techniques, or devices. This is also known as birth control. Sterilization is defined as the destruction of the ability of a human to reproduce by destroying sex organs or inhibiting their functions. Population control should be taken very seriously because it is infringement of our natural human rights. Though some may fear that our country and the world are becoming too overpopulated, it is one of the major goals of mankind, and all species for that matter, to reproduce. In the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it reads, God blessed them, and said unto them, Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the ground. I intend to prove that population control is not the answer to our environmental issues and other problems the world is facing today, like poverty, and that people should not be told how many children that they are allowed to have. Whether you're religious or not, it is in our genetically ingrained composition to reproduce, to continue to develop our race, and never go backwards once we've started on that path toward growth and development. Controlling our population is not only a bad thing, it is a violation of the individual rights that all humans are guaranteed. Thomas Jefferson and the other 55 men who signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, state that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. In this historical document which freed America from Great Britain, Jefferson highlights the right to life and the liberties of that life. All humans have the right to live and produce more life from their loins without restraint of authorities. Interfering with or setting limits on our population and the number of children humans reproduce is unethical. For example, in China, they've instituted a one-child policy, and families who conceive more than one child are either forced to pay a fine of $6,300 or they're forced to have an abortion. Not only is the birth control policy tarnishing their image internationally, it's also tarnishing their ability to compete from an economic standpoint. A leading demographer in China concluded that the growth rate of net consumers is exceeding the growth rate of net producers. Therefore, the economy is taking a toll for this limitation of births. This undermining of economical competitiveness will lead to the downfall of China and their economy, according to the Council on Foreign Relations. Though my opponent sees a growing population as something that is harmful and that should be controlled, many see it as a beneficial thing. According to Marketplace, a leading website which discusses the relationship between demography and its impact on the economy and the environment, population growth leads to increased economic development. They state that our net workforce will grow by 40%, while other countries such as China, who have instituted population control programs, will decrease their workforce. This larger and younger population is more likely to innovate, start new businesses, and create new domestic markets than an aging one. Not to mention, they could find new ways to pipeline manufacturing, agriculture, and energy so that they are less harmful to the environment. Population control may seem like the answer to many of our environmental issues and the high poverty rates at first glance, but if we look deeper into the idea, we see that there are other ways to improve the environment and decrease poverty, rather than simply eliminating people from being brought into the earth. The way I see it, population growth is a good thing, and something that the whole world can benefit from. If these young people are educated and grow up to become successful members of society, they can boost the economy and have high productivity and advancement as a species. Thank you. I now stand for questioning.
Are we China?
No, we are not, but we're not talking about the population control of just this country. We're talking about the world, I thought.
Well, How are countries supposed to protect their freedoms if they can't support the people that are dying from poverty, suffering from malnutrition, and homeless with no jobs? How are we supposed to bring more people into the world if the ones who are here now don't even have a job?
Well, most of the people who are suffering from poverty, those countries don't really have a government system. So even if they did have a government system, they're not really telling them that they can have as many babies as they want. So they would have to create a government system first before they control the population.
Well, every country has some sort of government system, and if these countries aren't important, then why does it not matter if we restrict the number of people that we have to support everyone?
Because people know, like, if they're in a bad situation, it's their choice to have more kids or not. Like, if they know that they can't provide and have more children, then they shouldn't have them. But if they think, like, if they know they can't provide and still want to have more children, it's their choice to make. I mean, it's a choice of life.
Well, if you haven't noticed, people are having children even when they can't support them. And when they can't support them themselves, the government has to support them and using everyone else's money to support children that are not wanted or needed, and the children themselves are suffering from their parents' decisions. So if we limited the amount of children we could have, then it would be better for everyone.
Or if we just didn't have welfare in the first place, then it could be better for everyone.
Well, we are not debating that. So what you're saying is that you'd rather watch thousands of children die and starve than ask people to limit the amount of children they have so that we could have enough food for everyone.
Having an abortion is the same thing as killing a child from starvation, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, I think having an abortion is worse.
Suffer. We're not debating abortion. We're debating population control. Stay on topic. Anyways, population control is needed in order to reduce the poverty and protect this whole country and other countries that are suffering.
Is it my turn?
I didn't understand.
Okay. It is not okay to determine the number of children that people are allowed to have. That is not the government's decision. Reproducing is a personal choice between a man and a woman, and they can decide and choose whether they have 1, 2, or 10 kids, just as long as they can provide for them. You can't say that a growing population is the only aspect that's harming the environment or causing poverty. For there are numerous other factors that have the same ill effects on these issues. Reducing population growth may slow down the process of environmental degradation, but it certainly won't stop the problem or undo the damage that's been done. The influx of young adults, which have emerged and will continue to emerge as long as our population is growing, can, however, use their brains to solve these problems in much more ethical ways rather than limiting births and infringing upon the natural human rights. Ironically, environmentalists view the intrusion of other species as an interference with their natural life cycle as a horrible thing, but that is exactly what they are advocating for humans by trying to limit our birth rate through contraception and abortions. If population control is instituted, it may be tolerable for a while, but eventually the government will realize that it is a mistake and decreases economic success, while increasing the cost of Social Security programs. Just like the 18th Amendment, forms of population control will be repealed, like many are beginning to suggest they repeal the one-child policy in China. Population control is not the answer to our problems, for continuing the growth and development of mankind is a good thing, not something that should be controlled or limited. I would like to thank the audience and judges for this opportunity and taking their time and effort to listen to this debate and my negative argument against population control.
For one, the 18th Amendment doesn't really have anything to do with population control, and that's a totally different issue. You said it may not help everything, but it will substantially increase the degradation of the environment that is happening if we have less people and can protect those forests and wetlands and animals. Now we must decide what is more important, the quantity of the people in our life or the quality of our life. Today, humans are destroying the world and environment at an astonishing rate. We are overfishing our oceans. There is world hunger and poverty, with 1 in 3 children malnourished worldwide. The usable part of the Amazon rainforest will be depleted by 2030. Species extinction is at an all-time high, and water scarcity is growing with a pending water epidemic in 2025. All these negative effects need to be controlled, and they can be helped with population control. Thank you for your time and opportunity to debate why exactly population should be controlled. Thank you.